It begins with the ceremonious offering of a clock. Fritz Lang's dark film about rejection starts with warm reception. Edward G. Robinson is put through Lang's ringer, supplying Scarlet Street with a surprising emotional depth. Scarlet Street is an examination of the latent misogyny that stirs inside the emasculated male. With a forthright contempt for amatory exploits, Scarlet Street is told from the collected coolness of a pointillist painting. Scarlet Street is made up of dots that have been arranged in such a way as to create a greater grandeur. Lang creates his master strokes with a methodically appropriate moderation of style. He layers his film in a fresco of sound. He applies a granular flexibility to it that allows the shadows to dance along the corridors. In a film that lovingly provides us with all of the familiar trappings of film noir, Scarlet Street is not so much a film about moody illumination as it is a collage of mounting sounds. Lang manages to give his film a deranged uniqueness, albeit with customary padding of anticipation that separates Scarlet Street from its contemporaries. It is a film that is unsparingly gloomy. It is twisted, nihilistic, and brutish. It's a film that takes no prisoners. Scarlet Street uses the conventions of film noir to undermine the totality of expressionism, stripping itself of symbolic meanings in favor of cruel aversions. It's a sour vision of a withering virility. It's the killing of a desperate American male fantasy. According to Lang's telltale lighting, this is a film about the death of a dream. Scarlet Street is the autopsy video of the corpse they found on cinema's forgotten stretch of unpaved highway, the one with the ripped-up gown and stars in its eyes. Scarlet Street is an exceptionally well-made movie. It was obvious that inspiration had struck Lang something fierce, as the director blends the images of his films with an abstraction of sounds eloquently and in startlingly articulate strokes. The unmerciful Fritz Lang shows a distinct disinterest in the symbolic medallions of his former expressionistic roots as he immerses his film into an inky black lake of overt truths about cruelty, deception, and lust. He provides Scarlet Street with false roads to recovery that all lead back to a deeply cynical dread. Scarlet Street is comprised of the darkest aspects of its director. This is Fritz Lang without hope or sentiment. Scarlet Street is film noir without the cream filling. Edward G. Robinson lays down a performance of such a marvelous craft that it astounds me. As he normally does, he is an incredibly consummate actor, just completely consistent. Robinson's performance in Scarlet Street was emotionally comprehensible, vulnerable, and visibly absent of the usual coolness that defined most film noir heroes. He was vulnerable and emasculated. Joan Bennett, on the other hand, was not afraid to plunge into familiar film noir waters and tropes. Bennett perfectly played up the femme fatale and made for one of the genre's most vile villains. Bennett's work was brilliantly composed, affording her a place of high esteem in the hall of legends. Robinson and Bennett were flawless. Both of them were superb. This is a Fritz Lang film that was built to slowly rise. In the first 30 minutes, Lang makes available all of the techniques that he plans to use and disseminate throughout the film. In the final 30 minutes, Lang drowns you in all of these same tools. Just like the dormant derangement of the characters it depicts, Scarlet Street was technically constructed to awaken at the first sign of tragedy. Then it was designed to implode, to self-immolate. with sound, with light, and with murder. Fritz Lang's film of rejection commits suicide before your eyes. Scarlet Street has a special place in the film noir Hall of Legends. They keep it in the rusty old coffin down in the cellar with that flashing overhead light. Those who visit it never forget it. Scarlet Street is a film about the murder of a dream. Lang's film is bleeding still.